longer than your famous brothers, the Bee Gees?
I'm almost 10 years.
How old were you when you realized how big and important they were?
I didn't realize, even before they made it famous, they'd had many years of success in Australia. But I wasn't quite aware until they made it internationally famous for some reason. I was about 10 years old when it really clicked.
Now, were you born in Australia or England?
I was born in England, Manchester, in the north of England.
And then moved to... that guy's just from the outskirts. He just... Not right in the main part of Manchester, lives on the outskirts. Suburbs, you go. But how old were you when your folks moved to Australia, and why did they move to Australia?
Well, I was 5 months old when we left, and it was mainly for the reason that I think my brothers had the bug to get into music, and I think they, the family as a whole wanted a fresh start, a fresh country. So which Australia is a great country for. It's great for careers and everything.
Well, you were all worried. You must have been worried about following in their footsteps.
Yeah, I used to be. I still am in a way. I still am.
Do they help with your records a lot?
Oh yeah. Barry produces all my records in conjunction with another two chaps that produce the Bee Gee records. But they're right behind my career. As a matter of fact, Barry got it off the ground by writing my first #1 record for me.
Was your first time out of the box a #1 record?
Yeah, it was.
My gosh.
First three were.
The first three?
Yes.
When a guy lives in a place like England or Australia, and he wants to be in this business, I somehow have the feeling that uppermost in his mind is being accepted here in America.
This is the country to make it in. I think in the beginning, the music industry's capital was England, about the late 60s, but now it's certainly America. And I think nobody really considers themselves as having made it in the world until they've done it in America.
Were the Beatles, did that help your brothers when the Beatles had that tremendous acceptance coming from England? Did that help other acts from that part of the world to kind of go through the door?
Yeah, it started off a whole lot of big names. I mean, there was lots of groups from the same area as the Beatles, Jerry and the Pacemakers.
Sure.
Who were incredible. All those kind of groups came out. And we come from about 35 miles from Liverpool, Manchester. And I think there's definitely a kind of a sound, something up there that gets in.
What was the biggest influence on you and your brothers as far as music is concerned? Was it necessarily an American act, or were they other acts?
I got to say, one of the earliest influences I got, and which I also learnt, that my brothers had learnt a lot from, was the Mills Brothers.
Oh, I love them. Yeah. Boy, I like them.
And I used to play their records all the time, and still do.
Yeah. They really had some hits, didn't they?
Oh, they're incredible.
Now, you just did some recording with Olivia Newton-John.
Yeah.
And I keep reading that you guys are an item, as they say. Rona Barrett would say an item.
I wish Rona Barrett was right.
You're not? You
no.
and she are not?
No, we're very good friends. And Livy's a kind of a sister to me.
Livy? You call her Livy?
Livy. Everybody that knows her calls her Livy, or Liv.
I know her, and I call her Olivia Newton-John.
Yes. Yeah, I just call her Livy or Liv. And she calls me And or Andy, one of the two. And she is, as I say, like a big sister. She gives me advice and help.
Some kind of a singer.
She's amazing.
There's someone very special backstage, and when we initially put this show together, we hadn't planned on this, but I had such a kick talking to him and all. I'd like for you to introduce him. I'd like for everyone to know him. Would you you introduce him and bring him out?
I'd like to introduce to you my father. He's here today.
You are a musician.
Yes, way back.
And did they know anything but a musical household from the time they were born? I mean, they must have gotten that training very early in life.
I don't think they ever did.
No musical training? It just...
No.
It was around them?
I was the oddball in my family as regards music. I was brought up in an era where you do a job, get your pension, that's it. And to go into the music, that was outrageous, Like the old days of vagabonds and strolling players.
How do you feel about the success of not one, but four of your sons? All four of your sons.
Well, it is abnormal because you might get one youngster in a family. I mean, you know the times when I was a kid, excuse me, you had to stay in after school and practice the piano.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. But how many great pianists came out of the era, you know? But the Bee Gees and Andy, it's all they've ever wanted to do. Yeah. They didn't need to be forced, they just wanted to do it.
How did it, I've asked them all how it's changed their lives, but how has it changed your life, having your sons become as famous as they have become?
Oh, financially, it's fantastic.
Do they take good care of you?
But it's great.
Do you act as their managers?
No, I did in the early days. I don't believe in that, Mike, because I think it's wrong for a parent to manage his own children. Because you could be an agent, I could go to you and rave over my kids, and you'd be quite entitled to say, well, it's all very well you talking, you're their dad.
I see. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
And in the early days, I did put them in the hands of different people who promptly decided to ruin us. So I had to come back and start again and salvage the
well,
work.
then you did play a part.
Yes, but it was
if you
my...
filtered through all of that, you
travel
played a
brothers
different...
all over Australia.
Well, they're too young. I had to drive them, you know.
Did you teach them about performing? Because you had experience on the stage.
Well, from what
How
I
to
knew...
walk on stage and bow and that sort of thing?
Stage techniques, be nice to people, never turn your back on the audience, and little things, you know, like you yourself well know, you come back for an encore, you must have something as strong or stronger than what you finished with.
Stronger than what you finished with.
I've seen so many big acts, they do an encore, they come back and sing something just for the sake of singing it, and it kills the whole thing.
But quite honestly, sometimes when somebody is very close to you, like a member of your family,
yeah,
they sometimes can make a suggestion to you that's better than what a very professional person would say. I mean, there have been times in my life when I am playing a place and it's just not peaking. I mean, there's not... And my wife will say, why don't you do such and such a song? Because I love the way you do it. And all of a sudden you go out and no arrangement, and you do the song, and boom. And you go, I paid all that money for this character to put all these tunes together. Yeah. But and here my own wife tells me.
It's very odd because even Barry, as a kid, I don't know why, I used to poo-poo it, but he could sense what wasn't going. He said, they don't want this stuff.
Really?
And I said, oh, don't do that, for God's sake, you know.
Still to this day, he gives advice on their concerts and stuff like that. And goes
do you tell them when they're recording whether you like it or don't like it?
Well, I don't go to recording so much because it's just pretty boring, you know, repetition. I like to come in near the end and find the faults.
I see. Oh, you're...
He often gives us an idea of what he thinks is the single.
No, but it's true. This is true because I've gone at the end of...
It is boring. You are right at the beginning of it.
And when they're repeating and repeating and repeating, they get so familiar with it. And a newcomer can walk straight and say, that's a clinker. You know, they're missing it.
Sure,
no,
because
not that they do.
You're that close to it.
Not that they do, but you can get too close to a thing and continually doing it.
Yeah. You were telling me what your brothers are up to, and that's exciting for people to hear that. I don't think they would even read about things like that.
My eldest brother, Barry, is just finishing up producing Barbra Streisand's new album, which will be out shortly, I think.
No, the big thing is he's written 10 songs, and she's accepted every one.
Yeah.
Barry wrote all the songs? Oh,
and
my.
I've heard it.
You've heard the album?
Oh, yeah, I've heard it. I've heard every track, and every track to me is a #1 record. Yeah, without a doubt.
My.
It's unusual for the whole album.
And your other two brothers, what are they?
Robin has just finished producing
Jimmy Ruffin.
Oh, from the Temptations?
Yes. Mm-hmm. And he's now starting to produce Marcy Levy, the ex-lead singer in Eric Clapton's band.
Wow.
So yeah, she's a great singer, and she's going to go work with
And you have 2 sisters, don't you, Barry?
Do.
Yeah. What are your daughters? Are they into music?
No, Leslie lives in Australia yet. She has her own family there. And she
married and has a family.
She breeds these dogs that, I don't know whether you got it here, but we lived in Miami, you know.
Yeah, they had them in there.
And there's a big outcry over these pit bull terriers.
Pit bull?
Yes.
Toughest dog?
Now, wait a minute. Leslie breeds the Staffordshire Bull Terrier.
This is the same breed, really.
But they're not the same looking dog. They're a hell of a guard dog, but marvellous with children.
Yeah, I'm told if they get a hold on another animal...
They're like a small bulldog.
Yeah, they're like
good night, Irene.
They lock, and they can't...
the jaw lock, and it takes a crowbar to get them off, you know. By that time, it's a little late. The other one is deep sixed.
Well, she has a big... she has a big dog boarding kennels, you know, like 57 kennels and a cattery, so she's doing all right.
Yeah.
She went best in show in Australia, didn't she?
She got the best, the Australian
Australia's
champion.
biggest dog show.
And your other daughter?
She's here.
Oh.
She's not here today, is she?
No, it's not. She's not in the studio. She's at home.
Oh, I thought she was backstage.
No. Oddly enough, she just decided not to come the last minute, so that was it.
Yeah, she wasn't going to come today.
Well, we are going to have to leave you, but when we come back, you're going to meet one of Andy's biggest fans, Christy McNichol, right after this. Here we are. Was I underselling when I said you're a big fan of
No.
Andy's?
No.
Do you have all his records?
Yeah, a few of them. Not all of them. I don't know.
That's coming
but
out.
a lot of them I do.
Have you guys met before?
Yeah, I think the first time we went was on Us Against the World, huh?
Yes, it was.
was it
That's
on
right.
that?
Because I thought it was an Osmond show, but it wasn't
Oh,
an
we
Osmond
played the
show.
pinball machine or
That's
something?
right. Yes, I was against the world.
What you up to?
Nothing. I'm not
You
working.
bought yourself a house, though.
Yeah. Well, we had the house for years, and I just went in there and fixed it up.
You look so cute down there as a cheerleader. Because you could do all that stuff. You wouldn't need hardly any training at all. Christy, have you ever seen Christy dance, Andy?
Never have, no.
The contemporary dances?
No, I've yet to
He
see
dances pretty good.
But you did a dance on this show. Remember? You came on my show.
Oh, I don't want to talk about it.
When Saturday Night Fever was the big rage, and you did that dance to the letter that he did in that movie. She had the whole
yeah.
thing
No,
memorized.
I think I did see that.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
I felt
Just
kind of
vague,
funny. I loved him so much. I still do, John Travolta.
Have you seen Urban Cowboy?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Another guy from the outskirts of Houston. No, one guy out of this audience saw Urban Cowboy and just sort of liked it.
Yeah.
You're gonna
You'll love it.
You're gonna do a movie project where you play a singer.
Yeah, we were supposed to do it this August, but because I didn't have enough time with the music and everything, we want to take time to do it right, or we don't want to do it.
You might get a private lesson or two from Andy if you play your cards right.
Yeah, maybe.
We're gonna pause. We're coming right back with comedian Johnny Dark right after this.